F125 is in the air. We're very, very close now to the brand new game, but we have a bit of business to take care of on F124. Specifically, a Drivers' Championship to win, and today could be the day. Here we are then for Qatar, the penultimate round, guys, of the My Team season. If you haven't seen the previous episode, go watch it before we jump into spoilers. But yeah, we're going into this one with a chance to win our second driver's title consecutively. Now the forecast is dry. You can see a small spoiler there regarding the mechanical failure, because last time out we had an issue and lost the MG UK. So for this one we've taken on a whole bunch of new components, and as we usually do when we have a mechanical, we are going to basically disable failures for the next weekend, and then we'll basically re-enable failures for Abu Dhabi, as that seems to usually fix the bug of the recurring failures. Now, here is the graph heading into this weekend. We overtake Williams, but generally speaking, not a lot of change. RB lead, you got Aston, Mercedes behind, Renault up in 4th, Ferrari a 5th, and they're the ones we need to look out for, because Charles Leclerc is my championship rival, and he's the only person who can take that away. You can see here, the permutations are pretty simple. This is Qatar. We have a sprint in this weekend, so essentially we have 2 races, which is 50 points, plus 2 fastest laps, which is 52 up for grabs, plus 8 for a sprint win, so 60 points up for grabs. Our lead right now is 53, so Leclerc needs to outscore us in the sprint by a point to keep it going into the main race. So there's no real pressure on us. We can actually secure this title in the sprint simply by finishing ahead of Leclerc, which is going to be the target. So we jump into practice and get into our race runs, and we had a bit of a tricky time with the last corner. I just couldn't quite get it down for some reason, and yeah, that was a bit of a complicated one. Either way, we eventually figured it out and got our race runs finished, and to be fair, car felt supreme. I love Qatar. It's one of our strongest tracks in the game, if not my strongest, and yeah, relative to the AI as well, we are super fast here. So yeah, over the line we're going to go last corner, finishing up those runs, job done.
Okay, test complete, and that was a really good job indeed. We got a lot of valuable information out of that. Well done.
Now in regards to the data, you can see the tyre wear was literally on average, like bang on the money, a 1-to-1 simulation. Fuel consumption also was pretty decent, in the 52 kg range, which is fine. You can see our lap times were very consistent on the soft, so minimal tyre wear. And yeah, generally we had a few issues with tyre temperatures, but other than that, it was a pretty decent run. We finished in P13, Ollie Behrman in 16th, 4 tenths between us, both on the same compound, and Leclerc up in P9 on soft. So there's kind of a bit of a preview in terms of the pace heading into the weekend. So yeah, job done. Obviously shortened practice format, so not a lot of R&D points to carry over, but that's kind of irrelevant now because we don't have time on the timeline anymore to do any more performance upgrades or facility upgrades before the season ends. So really now, this is all quite irrelevant, and yeah, really we could turn our focus entirely onto performance, trying to do well in the sprint, in the qualifying, and then in the race. So let's get into it, and let's start out with the sprint shootout.
Today is all about the rhythm, all about the flow, because it's qualifying in Qatar. We're under the floodlights for a high-speed test that will set the grid for tomorrow. Wherever you are in the world, you're very welcome.
Job done. Very nice. P1 in the sprint shootout, and that is going to leave us primed for the sprint to win the championship. You can see we had a decent margin, a tenth quicker than Alonso, 2/10 quicker than Norris, and then the gap to P4 and beyond is actually, fairly significant. But the key thing to take away here, Charles Leclerc P5. So yeah, we've got a good margin, a good head start over our championship rival, and yeah, hopefully now we can look to convert this into that elusive second title, which, to be fair, we have struggled with a bit recently, and the form in the second half of the season has been very, very all over the place. But anyway, job done for us in that one, and I'll take that. And generally speaking, a good start to the weekend. So we're now going to head into the sprint, and we're going to see if we can hopefully get the job done. Like I said, Leclerc needs to outscore us here, but we'll quickly run over the permutations at the start of the sprint if there's no grid drops for anybody involved in the championship fight. So let's go.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. So, a sprint race today, and that means lights to flag, no stops. And how is that going to affect the driver behind the wheel?
Absolutely. So for today, there's no pit stop, or shouldn't be a pit stop anyway, if things go right, and you can forget about strategy. You're just driving today as fast as you can, make those overtakes if you need to, and that's what a sprint weekend's all about.
Right, here we go then. Time for the sprint. It's pretty simple. The permutations are quite open. 53 points is the gap between myself and Charles Leclerc. We start from P1, Leclerc starts from P5. If the sprint were to finish like that, we would win the title this race. Now, Leclerc basically has to outscore me by a point to get it within 52 and take it to the last 2 rounds. So all the pressure's on him. We are in the best position to win the title right now, so let's go out there and let's go secure that championship. So, it's all there in black and white for you guys to see. Leclerc P5, we'll see what sort of race start he gets, but he needs to really jump up on this one to have any chance of trying to keep his title hopes alive. Gonna do a little burnout here just to get those rears lit up. We'll do one more just to be safe. And we are ready to go. So let's get the engine modes locked in. Let's get ready for this race start. Right, 10 laps away from potential glory. Lights on at Qatar. And we're off. It's not the best start. Alonso gets an absolute launch off the line. As we head to turn 1, we're in the thick of it here, but we're going to just hang on as we slot into second place. Leclerc crucially 5th for now and doesn't make any progress. This is still fine for us. We don't have to panic. We don't have to win this race. We just have to avoid Leclerc outscoring us. So it's as simple as that. So for now, we're just going to settle into this one. It's going to be over in a flash. So let's try and hopefully stick with Fernando. Don't let him get away. Sit in the DRS and then wait for the right opportunity to prepare an overtake. For now, though, crucially, Leclerc still P5. That's exactly what we want to see. Alonso just breaking away here, so we're going to have to use a good bit of battery to just reel him back in. He's trying to break the DRS. So we're just going to try and get close. I am running a little bit less wing than I normally would do around this track to try and be a bit more competitive on the pit straight. So now we're going to get a nice little slingshot here with some DRS to close in on Fernando, which is nice. So yeah, 20.6 from him. We're going to do a 0.8, but we'll close in here quite nicely. Gap to Stroll just peaked over a second there for a moment. We might have a chance to break, which could be interesting. That would put Leclerc in deep, deep waters for the rest of the sprint. So I am going to try and see if I can push that gap a little bit through here. Potentially also pass Alonso on the straight to get a leapfrog and really solidify that gap. You can see the gap is going up to Stroll. We nail that left-hander and that is going to give us the break. That was perfect. Hit that corner to perfection. And now suddenly we could be breaking away here with Fernando Alonso. We go purple and we're going to get the slingshot. We're going to walk past and get a huge gap on the rivals down the straight. Norris up to third, passing Stroll. But this is the break. We might get a chance to launch it here. Alonso will go straight back through, but we're working together here to increase our pace and our gap, so we'll let that be. That's absolutely fine. I think we've lost Norris from the race. Or have we? No, it's a bit further back. I think it's a V-carb that has blown up. Tsunoda, there it is. Either way, we've got the gap now to the cars behind.
Caution, caution. Okay, some information on Piastri. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Interestingly, Leclerc has done a double overtake, literally pulled off a sweep on Norris and Stroll, so he's up to third now. So if he does close in, that could be trouble for us. I couldn't overtake Alonso there because there was that yellow into turn 1 because of Tsunoda's DNF, so we had to just delay. So important that we try and keep the gap now to Charles. Alonso's very quick at the minute, dragging me along just fine. So at the minute I am just preparing the typical final lap overtake to get the win. So at the minute I have no urge to pass. Alonso's running a good pace, we're not getting caught, so we're fine to continue this trend. Right, here we go. Full charge, ready to strike. On to the last lap of the race. Alonso, to be fair, has kept a decent gap, but we should be able to challenge here. Look at the closing speed. So much quicker. Straight through, clean through. And also, meanwhile, Leclerc drops down to P5 on that lap. So, I'll say that. He's battling, to be fair, but that is going to be giving Norris a breakaway. All we've got to do now is bring this home, and that's going to be the championship if my maths is correct. I always hate saying I'm going to win it and then I get the calculation wrong, but I'm pretty certain it's job done. Here we go then. After a turbulent season, we didn't start out as the quickest car, but we were efficient. Finally, after 23 rounds, we win back-to-back titles.
Come on! Now we can fight!
Fantastic! Yes, come on, we've won it! We are the Drivers' World Champion! What a result! Enjoy this one, my friend, enjoy it!
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
There we go then, confirmation of the championship and the final results. To be fair, this really is not that important. Leclerc finishes P4, but let's quickly confirm that title. You can see 56 points is the gap to Leclerc and Alonso. There's only 52 points now up for grabs between the Qatar main race plus Abu Dhabi and a fastest lap in each. So job done for us. We can now enjoy the last few rounds with no pressure and just have a little bit of fun. So happy days, very, very thankful. And yeah, now really our focus turns to the constructors. Aston Martin are 3 points ahead. They've overtaken us. So really the target is to try and hang on to that 4th spot. So let's see what we can do.
Today is all about the rhythm, all about the flow, because it's qualifying in Qatar. We're under the floodlights for a high-speed test that will set the grid for tomorrow. Wherever you are in the world, you're very welcome.
That wasn't ideal. We just creeped out of track limits on the entry of that right-hander, and that's going to put an end to our qualifying early on. So Lando Norris is going to get the pole, a 118.8. pretty comfortably actually ahead of Alonso and Piastri. Very strong qualifying from the McLarens. But obviously, there's not really much to go by here. The championship is officially wrapped up. In terms of things worth noting, the Red Bull still struggling with single lap qualifying pace. Leclerc only gets P7, and to be fair, the field is really tight from Alonso down to Hamilton, give or take, literally a tenth. But generally, Norris comfortable, Behrman there in 18th. We finish, of course, in last with that invalidation. So we have everything to do. We have nothing to lose, everything to gain in the race, and we're going to start from the back. We'll likely run the hards and just see what happens, really, and hopefully come the end we can fight for a podium, maybe even a win, because the pace here is strong, the car's strong, I'm confident. So let's get into it and let's jump into the main event.
Welcome to Losail International Circuit, still making its history in the early stages of its period on the Formula One calendar. It's time for the Qatar Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Fernando Alonso lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Stroll, Tsunoda, Russell, Norris, Leclerc, Ocon, Hamilton, Gasly, Sainz, Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Perez, Albon, Bottas, Joe, Behrman, Sargent, Teo Porcher, Hauger, and Martinez. That's it then. It's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Well, here we go then. Time for the race. Really, nothing to mention or say. We are last after that qualifying mistake, so we have to fight back. So we're going to go for the hard tyres and go for mediums at the end. If we have a strong first stint, we can go potentially a bit longer. We'll fight back on the end on that fresh medium and we'll be super quick. So we're just going to jump into it, see what happens, give it maximum beans all the way through, and hopefully come the end, we still get a decent result. I think a podium is possible, so let's see if I'm right. Right, we're going to line up, just trying to get a bit of tyre temp in these hard tyres, which is proving a bit of a challenge, but we should be okay. We'll get a little burnout on the go as well before we get stuck in and really go for this. Here we go. I'm not expecting a great start, but hopefully we can get things moving come the end of the first lap. So here we go. Lights on for the final time in Qatar. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Lights out, and away we go. It's quite a tricky start there, you can tell already there. Struggling for grip. But we're going to go into turn one, and straight away we're going to get stuck in. Behrman's getting bullied by both of the DHL Haas cars. We're going to get all of them. As we pick up some understeer, we get a warning at turn two. Not exactly ideal, but we're just going to mark Dennis Hauger there and keep him behind as we've got some battles up ahead. We're right behind Bottas. We're going to try it and have a look here down the inside. Joe as well, slowly, as we head through the hairpin up to P17 already. Thought about a move, but we're going to just hang back for the time being. We might be able to get one somewhere soon as we massively close in through there. Let's see, heading into the fast Sector 3, if we can try and get a move on Joe here. We're going to have to just wait. We're going to close in massively through this section. Almost got a warning there. I've already got one, so let's not get a second if I can avoid it. Right, let's set up the exit out the last corner. Let's see if the hards are working. A little bit oversteer, but away we go.
DRS now enabled. DRS enabled.
DRS enabled, closing in here on Joe. Down the inside. We just drive the car and point the nose to the apex and go down the inside. So that's P16 already. Good start for us. Let's keep making progress one by one. We'll eventually get past everybody and hopefully we'll make our way into some points. Breaking the train up ahead, it seems. So let's try and close back up. Alonso 21.8 out front. Setting the pace early on. You can see we are on the hards, going a bit slower right now, but that's not a big deal. Albon here fairly slowly. We're not going to rush into moves if they're not going to happen naturally. At the minute, the medium's going to be the better tyre. We've passed basically the really slow cars, which are the Haas, Audis, and I believe it's also the Williams. But you can see there we've lost Fernando Alonso. So he's set his fastest lap, but he's now blown up. So that's going to give Leclerc a free run to basically secure second in the Drivers' Championship, as suddenly everyone's going slowly here into the hairpin, so we get an opportunistic move on Albon. I'm going to try and go around the outside, but I don't quite have the grip on this tyre to make that happen. We're going to switch underneath, up and under. We'll try again here. We're going to open it up, and there we go. We get that overtake done. That wasn't planned, but we'll take it. Important to get back within DRS range, though, of Sergio Perez ahead.
Okay, I've got information on Joe for you. They've got an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Well, that's not a big deal for us, of course. Joe behind, not in front. Uh-oh. Warning number 2. I've got to be careful now for the rest of the race. We're going to have to just scale it back a little bit and just watch our driving. I feel like over the last lap I've started to visibly get a bit quicker over our rivals, so I think we're going to try and line up an overtake here on Perez. So let's see if I can get a good last corner. It's going to be tricky here because of the DRS effect, but the AI tend to derate at the end of the main straight. So I'm going to move over to the left to avoid the bumps. Purple sector 3, there's the derate from Perez, so we're now going to force him into a predicament. Outside line is the way to go at turn 1. Perez still there. Lots of room being given. Racing room down the inside of turn 2, and we get that one done. You can see we've just lost DRS at the group ahead. These 3 battling away quite heavily, so we're going to try and get involved. Verstappen, Hulkenberg duking it out in the 2 rival sister teams. But right now the hard tyre is working. It's the better race tyre. The medium starting to fade already, so we're going to be strong now for the rest of this stint until they all box. Look at that, look at the grip we have. Sainz actually defends into the last corner, surprisingly, so that's going to make things even easier for us. Here we go then. Hulkenberg putting a move on Verstappen. There's the derate from Sainz. We're going to use that to go through around the outside. That's supreme confidence right there. Full trust in my tyre, and also these 2 are still going at it. Verstappen actually holds on. Hulkenberg unable to convert, so we might be able to pass them here. I wonder if into this hairpin we can try and get Hulkenberg. Yep, nice move down the inside, clean overtake. Hulkenberg doesn't defend it, and now we can pass Verstappen on the pit straight and launch ourselves onto the top 9. And there we go, closing in on Max. This should be like taking candy from a baby. I don't think he's going to have DRS either on Lewis, so this should be straightforward. And that's going to make it even easier. Thank you very much. Verstappen out of the race. Engine blow up for the Red Bull driver. And that gives us P10, and we're now into the points. Come on. Right, looks like we're not going to get a safety car from that. So we're going to continue on our way. Next objective is to get within a second of Hamilton, which should be doable, especially in Sector 3. So let's crack on here. Oh my god, I was out.
Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done.
Just slipped out of bounds there. Very, very reckless, to be fair. Shouldn't have done that, but oh well. We'll have to deal with this now for the rest of the race. Not often it happens in career mode, but we'll be factoring that in now to our final race time and also our strategy for the rest of this race. Here we go then, closing in on Lewis. We've got no more yellow flags to disrupt us from overtaking into turn 1, so we should be able to have a look. There's going to be quite a bit of battling in this train, so I can see Lewis is burning a little bit of battery, but we're going to match him, and now we're going to close him in. On the outside, Oh, just about. Inside through turn 2, that's going to be ours, and we might have a chance of getting Pierre into the hairpin here and kind of redo the Hulkenberg overtake. If I can just nail these 2 corners, like so. Whoa, that was a bit over the top. Actually did touch Gasly there on the way in, which kind of destabilized the car. He broke way earlier than I thought, considering he had basically no one directly in front of him. You know, there was a bit of a gap there. He wasn't really compromised. He broke super early, but we go through. So we do survive. That could have been a horrible crash, no damage by the looks of it. So we got away with one there, big time. It's easy, very easy. The grip is just supreme on this tyre right now. This time we was a bit more in control. I was anticipating Ocon braking just super early, even though he doesn't have a car directly on top of him. But the AI just seemed to brake early into there, and we learned from that Gasly mistake. So through we go, and we might not be through yet. There might be some more overtakes on this particular lap, as we might get a shot at either Norris, Tsunoda, possibly we might even catch up to Leclerc, which is insane. I mean, look at this, we're closing in so much. The medium is on its last leg. I think we might see cars boxing on this particular lap. Not yet. So we're going to go through, and we're going to stick to the left. Less bumps. Easier to ride. Tsunoda's catching Leclerc. We're going to almost clear Lando there. He just keeps his nose in, but we'll probably get this one through turn 2 or not. No, Lando's still there. He's not giving this one up without a fight. We'll get that down the inside. Hairpin overtake opportunity again as we pass Lando around the outside. And we'll get Tsunoda on the inside. There it is. Lovely stuff. And we'll now pass Leclerc on the pit straight, unless he boxes, which is what I think will happen. And there we go. Leclerc boxes. So does Stroll.
We're approaching the pit window, and you're going to be on mediums.
Piastri, Russell stay out for the time being for one more lap. Was low-key hoping I'd get DRS on Piastri, but I was a bit too far back. He'll now box with George. We'll be released into the race lead, and this is going to be a statement lap from us, as we do a 21.7 after 16 laps on this tyre. Very good tyre wear, so we're going to have no issues on that front. So we're now just going to box when I feel like it's the right time.
Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach, and make sure you don't speed. Looks like the ERS isn't functioning. The guys are working on a fix.
Another warning. I felt a lot of understeer there as we suddenly had that fault come through. We've had this before where the ERS basically brakes on our car, and we'll see how much my pace drops by, but it does seem like it's already starting to really hurt us. That's not exactly ideal, but as long as it recovers, we'll try and fight back at the end. I think last time we had this, it didn't actually fix itself, so let's see. But I've just got a ton of understeer now, all of a sudden. I know my tyres are wearing, but literally 2 laps ago I was doing fine. Now I've just got no front end grip. Not sure why an ERS issue would compromise the turning, but we're just bleeding time in the corners now all of a sudden. And I mean bleeding time. It's not like we're critical for tyre wear, you know, it's still decent. I mean, the right side's fine, but even through the right-handers, for the left-handers, for the right side, I've got no grip. I'll use battery, but I don't think it's going to work too well. I can really feel it in the corners. I mean, I'm running like a gear less in every single corner. Just feels like chronic understeer. Here we go then, into the pits. We're going to see if it fixes our car, but likely it won't. But either way, we're going to just get those mediums on and hopefully compensate for the damage and see what we can try and fight for. There's a few gaps in the train. We've lost critical time with this ERS issue, so I don't know where we're going to rejoin. I think it could have been quite a bit more comfortable had we not had the problem, but this might set us back quite a bit. 2.2, we're going to be probably at the back of all these cars, so we're going to have a lot of work to do. But if our car isn't working, then there's not much we can do, really.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Yeah, this is disappointing. I'd cleared all these guys, so that car issue has really hurt us. And we'll see if we can even fight, to be honest. I can still feel the understeer now. Oh, look at that, we're just losing time on the cars ahead. Let's see through here. Oh, this is a fresh medium, by the way. They're on already a slightly used hard. I'm not gaining through here. Normally I gain. I mean, I want a fresh medium. I should be flying onto the back of these guys, but I'm just not catching. The gap's exactly the same as it was at the start of the lap. Let's see now, straight line speed. Yeah, I'm just slow. Normally we'd be on the back of Perez, but we've lost time. So yeah, we are still in trouble. So I don't think there's going to be much on the table for us today. Even if we get these 3 cars, we're not going to be in the points. For now, I'm trying to fight this with what I've got. We do a PB, purple last, but it's not a purple lap. I'm using everything here to try and get Perez. Oh my god, look at the understeer. I'm just having to wait so long to pick up the throttle. I'm using the curb to try and turn the car a bit. We do get Checo there. There's also Albon passes Hulkenberg, but we are still in trouble. But the points are right there, just up the road, if we can stick with it. Okay, we might be able to get a double overtake here if we execute correctly. Piastri 21.4. We're not quick enough to go purple. I'm also using all my battery here. We're going to try and follow Hulkenberg on this high line. I am very, very short on battery though. Around the outside, try and pinch Hulkenberg tight. And we're through. Good double pass, but we're not out of the woods yet. Hulkenberg will challenge. We'll just let the outside be his line of attack, but he doesn't commit to it. So that's P11. Sonoda, Sainz up ahead, will try and close in, but this won't be easy without DRS. Decent lap, but we haven't done anything to drop Hulkenberg. He's still there. 22.3, so we're just slow. And we're going to get passed by Albon as well. Literally a sitting duck without DRS. So we're going to limp to the finish here.
Okay, information on Sainz. They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
Well then, that could be points. Let's see. Well, there we go. They've co-opted the signs. I think with this penalty now, we're going to be getting no points today, so there's nothing on the table for us. Look at that, 3 wide. I'm just not even catching. I'm using everything on the straight, but it's doing nothing. I'm not even going to get signs on that one, which is a real shame, because now these two are going to break away more than likely. I feel like the issue's getting worse. Maybe it's placebo, but my car feels terrible right now. We'll close in on signs here, and we'll get him into the hairpin. Is that warning number 4 or 5? I don't even know anymore now. What a race to forget. What a shame. Genuinely think we could have got an easy podium looking at the mini-map. Easy podium. Without the car issue, we could have cleared the penalty, but instead we're struggling and suffering back here. Lost DRS there. Ah, what a shame. No point even really finishing the race. No point. We're not going to get any points. The penalty's going to condemn us anyway, so I'm going to call it quits. And luckily, we won the title in the sprint, but I am sweating for no reason in this race, so we're going to call it a day.
A superb drive from the talented George Russell, who takes the checkered flag.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or locked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they're able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
There we go then, job done for the weekend. The championship is what we wanted, and the championship is what we got. We are going to take a hit in the constructors because Lance Stroll had a good weekend, but there is your cumulative total for the weekend. So no points for us in the main race. So that is going to leave things as follows for the last race in Abu Dhabi. Russell up to second, leapfrogs Alonso and Leclerc heading into the last race, and then in the constructors we're fifth. We are 21 points behind Aston Martin. So what we're going to do is look at potential investments, but I don't think it's possible because of the timeline, the race being very close. So I don't think nothing's going to change. So I think it's going to be GG's. We're going to have pretty much nothing to fight for in the finale, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Either way, Drivers' Championship secure, and we'll take it. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more. In the background, you're going to have all the fallout from that one, which, to be fair, I think it's going to be fairly negative, as we retired and weren't going to get any points anyway. So, yeah, just a day to forget in terms of the race itself, but luckily the sprint was executed to perfection. So, yeah, one more race to go, guys. One more video to go on F124 before we move on to F125. I can't wait to say goodbye to this game. It hasn't been memorable. But yeah, guys, cheers for watching. As always, a massive shout out to my channel members. Check out the 2 videos on your screen for more content like this. And I'll see you next time. Take care. And it's goodbye from me. Ciao.